like I said, you would need a lot of grit and a lot of tenacity to get to where you want to be, right? So in terms of skills and things you need to be successful, I think the general rules would apply. And ultimately, I'm a very firm believer in self-development and putting in the work irrespective of the environments you may find yourself in, right? So what would stand you apart in your field is likely different from mine, right? In law, I can go into more specifics in terms of what people are looking for in the outside world, what you should be focusing your development on, what types of areas or fields in law you could pay attention to, but I'm speaking to an audience that's not necessarily lawyers, and in that context, the important thing for me is you always want to learn, and you're always ready to put in the work. And I haven't seen a career, a field of human endeavor. I've not seen anything where people who are very committed to their development and who are willing to put in the work do not have a fair chance at success. Success will not be guaranteed, unfortunately, and it's never guaranteed wherever you are, whatever background you come from. It's never guaranteed. But to the extent you're willing to put in the work and you always want to learn and be better at it, you always will have a fair chance at success.
Yeah, that's it. Then we have what do you enjoy most about your time in Cambridge and the UK in general?
Well, funny thing is, my trip to Cambridge was my first time outside of Nigeria. So I've been in Nigeria all my life until I tried for my master's, right? And so it was in Cambridge that I experienced lights not blinking for 24 hours or a week for the first time ever. And so it kind of was a shock, right? But ultimately, living through Cambridge was a fantastic experience. I'd mentioned earlier the good student life. So in terms of the opportunities you have to participate in different things, all the collegiate activities we had, everything around that. I'd also spoken about the number of Nigerian students and the vibrancy of the Nigerian students community over in Cambridge, which was brilliant. I enjoyed my time in Cambridge. A lot of traveling, so went. Unfortunately, I didn't go outside of the UK at the time, but I'd gone around the UK quite extensively. So I had a couple of friends at our final exams. Went on trips to Land's End down in the south of England, into Cornwall, to Merlin's Cave in wherever that is, to Shakespeare's grave, to the Stonehenge. We just toured around England for about 5 days or something. Rented a car and students having fun around the UK, right? It wasn't experiencing winter for the first time wasn't pleasant, and seeing how quickly things get dark was not a good thing. But it was new, like I said, because it was my first time out of Nigeria, and everything really just added up, and the fact that I was in a new environment, but around people that I could still be familiar with. I think for the gentleman who will be resuming in Cambridge soon. I hope that you find all those to be useful to you as well, and that you also have a truly rewarding student experience, both in Cambridge and in the UK more broadly.
Hopefully, I feel you heard that. I'm sure you heard that. What are the biggest challenges of your career?
Well, so far, I mean, I'm very grateful that it's been good, and maybe that's one of the things that the good grades can give you. So I've had it quite good so far. For me, the big thing has been just how unending it is, and how much work you truly have to put in to, one, get to the top, and two, to stay as close to the top as you can be, right? Unfortunately, it just never gets easier, and you can't rely much on the successes of the past if you want to remain relevant today, right? So that work always has to go in, and you always have to keep pushing it and being better than you were yesterday, right? So for me, in terms of challenges, law is a ridiculously competitive profession, and it's a very demanding one as well. So you do have to put in hours and hours and hours on end of work, closing in very late, just trying to get things done, right? That has been the part that has been, well, on one hand, challenging, because it does take its toll on you, family life and all that. But on the other hand, like I've always said about putting in the work and being committed to developing yourself, I've also found that to be very rewarding. I think people have different views on challenges that they've experienced and encountered in their journeys so far, but that for me has been mine.
Yeah, after that being said, so do we have anyone participating or listening to us that has any questions for him? Does anyone have any question?
I have a question. I don't know.
Okay.
Your career has been so tremendous and amazing, so to say. And then coming from OAU to Cambridge and then to Oxford. How do you assess the similarities and differences you find in OAU?
Yeah,
What are the things you think as an OAU student? This is what I think helps my career, and this is as different from Cambridge, because we always believe that coming down here you get a better education. So, but the background you had in OAU, how does what relationship does it have with the Cambridge, and what are the differences you find in Cambridge and then to Oxford?
Okay, no, thank you. That's a good one. OU was a madhouse, to put it plainly. Of course, the starting point is for different reasons, you are not necessarily learning from people who, some of whom wanted the best for you, right? Let them just put it that way. Because you did have instances where it's like it was you against the teacher, you against the examiner, right? And the environment broadly is already difficult enough. I can't tell you how many times I studied under street lights in OAU, because you're going into exams and there's no light in school. And so you have this, at some point I was staying off campus, and so you had this solar powered street lights set up by Senator Onishore that led from the university campus all the way to the front of his house, and I was staying on that road. So it was solar powered. So at nights I don't have lights and I carry my books under a street light, just try to do something, right? And then you had examiners and teachers. Sometimes, not all. I did have some fantastic teachers there, but you had the few exceptions that didn't seem to have your best interest at heart, to put it mildly. And so you had to navigate a very difficult terrain, really, to get through a place like that and come out with a good performance. Of course, you had a very active student life in Ife, and I loved my time there. It was safe, it was calm, it was peaceful. I fortunately finished in good time. Unfortunately, now you see what you're having with ARUNSA strike in 7 months now. I was able to finish a 5-year law degree in 4 years and some months. Coming out of there, one good thing though is that with that sort of background, a lot of what I've discussed earlier as to tenacity and grit and just I want to achieve this grade, and I will put in the work to get it, irrespective of how difficult the society and the situation around me is, right? So that had already been built in me. So coming into Cambridge, you're in a class with a lot of very, very bright people, but you don't necessarily feel intimidated by anything, because you know that, look, if I put you in these situations that I was in, you may crumble, right? So I get in here and I have all the facilities with me. I have a terrific library. I have constant internet and light, and it's like heaven, right? So that was good. And since those foundations were already there, and like I said, you're not learning to cram the law and then pour it down. You're not learning to just pass exams. You're really developing yourself, and if that is already there, then it's easy to replicate performance across board, right? In terms of student life, I talked about that in Cambridge as well, which again was good. Oxford was an interesting one, because I thought Oxford was, I think town is bigger. It's fairly more expensive, I suspect. And maybe a tad more elitist than Cambridge is what I found. But I think, but my Oxford student experience was very good, although rather short, because I had to leave at the end of my first year, so I didn't really get the chance to really experience Oxford as I would have liked to. However, one thing, and why maybe my student experience in Oxford too was not as wholesome as I would have wanted it to be, is at PhD level, I don't have classes every day. In fact, I have just a 2-hour workshop every week in my first year, or more accurately, in the first 2 terms, after which you're really coasting on your own and doing your thing. Of course, a number of people who, for instance, then try to get teaching roles and work as research assistants to professors and all that, had a more active experience, but that wasn't necessarily the case for me. So those are about the differences I saw in experiences amongst them. But in all, I think I enjoyed all my student experiences across all the schools that I have been fortunate to study in.
Okay. The next question is, what advice would you give to someone studying in Cambridge, Oxford, and the UK?
Look, just put in the work. Be prepared to put in the work and actually do put in the work. It's not. I can only speak to the schools that I've been to. But like I said, I know that one principle that will always help you and stand your part is giving in 200% wherever you are. So do that. You're in school, make the best of it. Come out with the best possible results you can, because grades actually are important, irrespective of what people say. Unless, of course, you want a career not in your field, you want to transition to something else, you want to do business, which are all very valid as well. If that's not what you're thinking, and there's a chance, however slight, that you may use what you're currently studying, then you really do want to show that you're good at it. But academics is not all that there is to school. You do have opportunities to have a fantastic student experience, to build networks, to build friends, to maintain relationships. I tell law students, as an example, that if you are in school and all your friends are lawyers, you're perhaps not doing as well as you should, because those people are your competitors when you come out of school. You want to make friends with the engineers and the economists and guys in accounting and all that, because those are the investment bankers and engineers and data scientists and politicians, etc. of the future that are potential clients to you, right? So you do want to network effectively. In a place as cosmopolitan as Cambridge is, you certainly want to widen your nets as wide as possible. And one good thing is, and this is one good thing that I think you'll find studying in the UK, wherever you are, is that whoever is with you there has one of two things going on for him or her. The person either is quite bright, because that person was then able to get into a good university in the first place, right? I was able to get in, so there's already a foundational level of intelligence, I would say. More importantly, though, that person may be there on a scholarship, which would mean that the person may actually be a smart person and someone that you should keep up relationships with, right? Or alternatively, that person may be there self-funded, which means the person, either himself or herself or the person's family, is somehow well-to-do. In any event, it's a good thing to maintain friends, right? So I wouldn't go through school, and I don't think it's an effective strategy to go through school keeping to yourself and just doing your thing. You want to network, you want to make friends and to build relationships, you want to nurture them. You have friends and colleagues across the aisle across the UK. You have people in careers that you're currently trying to get into. You just want to network and build relationships. And thirdly, you want to have a good time. School is not the place to lock yourself in libraries all day, every day. You put in the work academically, but you also, as I've said, experience the town, experience the country, experience other cultures, build up friends with you guys from wherever it is in the world, right? All those things can only help you going forward. At least that has been my experience. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for that. Then, what top tips would you give someone aspiring to study and work in the UK, especially in your field? I think you've said some part of it already.
No, sorry, I didn't get the question.
what top tips would you give someone aspiring to study and work in the UK, especially in your field?
Oh, I mean, yeah, you're right. I touched on that earlier. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's much else to say there. But
Yeah.
for people in other fields, I don't know what is important in yours and what people are looking for and all. But I think one tip I'll give is start early. If you want to work in the UK, you want to stay back after your studies. That's if you're from Nigeria going in there for studies, of course. Start early, start making the network, start seeing what the job market looks like, how do you get in, when do you start, all that. You just want to start that process early. Of course, you now have possibility of 2 years after your studies, if you're on a study visa, right, to find work and try to settle into the UK. We didn't have that in my time. So maybe the pressure is not so much now, but in any event, I think the earlier you start, the better for you, ultimately, whichever way you turn.
So what did you enjoy most about studying in Oxford?
Did I enjoy studying in Oxford? It's
you enjoyed like Cambridge?
Well, yes, not quite like Cambridge, but I thought Oxford was a and this again was just my personal observation. I thought it was more academic than Cambridge, and maybe not in the best of ways. So as an example, master students had seminars, weekly seminars with college tutors and all that, and the sort of pressure that they were under was just enormous, right? So the academic work really, if you followed it through, I wanted to devote yourself solely to academics in Oxford, you couldn't even keep up. It was that much, that level of challenging. So for many people who didn't want to fall too far behind and had too much ground to make up leading to exams, it meant that student life oftentimes had to take a back burner. For a master's program, for my master's program, we didn't have that type of, should I say, close marking as they did in the master's program in Oxford. So that was there. But I enjoyed the facilities in Oxford a whole lot. The library in particular was excellent, and as a doctoral student, I had research corners that were only available to PhD students, so, which was good. So I had very quiet and very good times in the whilst learning, and I had a fantastic supervisor who I had built up a solid relationship with. So that also helped me quite tremendously. Ultimately, studying experience was very good. Not much different from the type of quality of studies I saw in Cambridge, but it just had its peculiarities, some of which were very good.
So lastly, what parting advice would you give Nigerian students trying to come to study in the UK, already studying in the UK and starting a career in the UK?
I could have touched on some of that in one of the earlier questions on what advice I would give.
Almost all these questions are linking together with what you discussed.
Yes. So I won't rehash that a lot, but of course I would say that the UK is a very good place to study, to mingle, to network, to build relationships, to have a career, right? Or at least to start laying the foundations for one. I'd stress the point about meeting people and networking and building up yourself and foundations for your career. I'll just stress that again. It can't be overstated. You really do want to put in that work and to meet with people, many of whom you know are destined for the top. And it can only be a good thing for you to build friendships and relationships with them, and to hold each other's hands as you both climb the ladder of success.
All right. I think we've come to the end of the questions. Yeah. So I would like anyone listening to ask few of their questions. If you guys have any question, you can come up.
There is a question here already on the chat box.
Okay.
Someone's asked, what helped you to stay focused? Was it your background or just your nature?
So I actually think I'm a very troublesome person by nature. Very, very playful. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to go upstairs and play my PlayStation. That's how I just. I'm not the serious person that my profile suggests that I am, frankly. But for context, my mom is a university professor. My dad, not quite. He finished highest qualification, was an MBA, but in my very earliest years, they had drummed academic performance into me. So I mean, this didn't start today. It was all the way from primary school, really and truly. So not by nature, but then on one hand, there was come back home, and parents are back home, and you sit down around the dining table and you're doing your assignments. Right back then, these guys were very involved. No such thing as a result that they didn't see. There was no such thing as a performance that they were not aware of, right? So right off from my earliest years, they were very active in my academic development. There was also a very good tinge of sibling rivalry. So I happen not to be the smartest person in my home, which perhaps may say a lot. So that sibling rivalry really helped, because then I was always trying to outperform my brothers, who were in turn trying to outperform me, and then yeah, that's in earliest childhood that certainly helped. And thirdly, just again, given that I'm very prone to playfulness if left unchecked, they put in incentives for me to remain focused on my studies. So as an example, when I was in Ife, my pocket money increased by 1K. This was I was in Ife 2007 to 2012, right? So 1K was not too bad money at the time, but the pocket money increased by 1K with every year I got, and 500 now with every year I got. And the C was not a result; it was beefing of the house. So in fact, you have to explain yourself with every C you got, right? So at first, you start by wanting to get the extra 1K to take a girl out, go on for something. But with time, you see how several A's add up to you getting to the top of the class, and then it's just part of you at some point where it doesn't really even matter anymore what the performance is. You just try to get it right. All the incentives are rather. So I'm not sure it was nature, but I do have a very good capacity to absorb a lot of information absolutely quickly. That's what it may take people many hours to say a shorter period of time. But that's not something that I was born with. I know that, in fact, I see the brain as a muscle, as with any other muscle, and you want to look fit. You have to put in time in the gym, and after a while, muscle memory takes over, they are built for it, right? It's about this acid brain, which that when you start, it's painful, as with the gym, but as you go on, it gets easier. And after a while, it becomes second nature to you, right? So I think more of background and upbringing than nature. It's a question. By nature, I'm not a networking person. Getting connected with others is a big challenge for me. Secondly, sitting down in the UK is a big challenge because you're on here and you don't get all the help needed, especially from your fellow Nigerians. Okay, so Omo, I think that is fairly representative of what a number of people say. I'm not a very social or sociable person myself. I just said that I'm going upstairs to play PlayStation now instead of going up making something more exciting Saturday, right? But the matter is that has to be learned somehow. And maybe you take on the challenge by writing to one person and offering to meet up for coffee, right? It's a challenge. It's not, maybe it's not somebody that you haven't, maybe someone you've not met before, or whatever it is. But in this week, maybe try to write to one person and just say, whoever the person is, but you're a student here, you're doing this, you just want to have a quick chat about something, are able to do a coffee, right? The point about it is, as with a lot of things, it's something that you only get better in the more you do. And so coming out of your skin and out of yourself and coming out there, it's never easy. Start off very small. It may be a bit difficult to for instance, go on straight into a networking event, drinks reception, something, and freely running conversations and all. But maybe start off with something that you can, in a controlled space, that you can be more yourself in, right? Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. It's easy to see from the question that you're a shy person, right? But that's why, for instance, start off with a controlled environment with one individual that you may have done some research on, right? And you do that second time, and maybe you then start becoming more able to do that openly. But I think the first step would be controlled space with a person that you've done some research on. It sometimes doesn't work, but I think general people are to have these sorts of conversations. And maybe it's someone in the university as well. Maybe it's a Nigerian student that you have with you, right? Just something in that direction. We can take this conversation up offline as well if you in the UK. Well, so I think that for many people, given that they are also trying to settle in, and for many people, they don't already have friends in be it in Cambridge or in the UK more broadly, they can be willing to build up friendships, right? At least that was my experience, both in Cambridge, in London when I went over to Oxford for my doctorate. It's you are not alone in trying to settle down, right? You're not alone in finding this place in your environment. You're not alone in coming into the system. there are a lot of people. Udoka is an example. He's just coming in as well, and coming into the system, he certainly would want to settle in and speak to people who are currently there, make friends. Where do I do this? Where can I get that done? All that stuff. So not everybody will be as helpful as you want, and all. But that's to be expected, I think. But please remember that you are not alone on that journey, and that many people that you are meeting as well. We can disturb Andrew here as an example. I'm sure he'll be a good person to make friends with.
Thanks for your wonderful advice. Thanks for, we really appreciate the time. And starting from this, anyway, you've been told you already have a friend here. And with him, I think you already have a second friend. So you can start with us, and then I'm also like that. I can even be more shy than you think. But when things are needed, you just have to do it. Like my lecturer will say, they tell you that you need to read this book to pass, and you say that it's difficult. There's no other way. You just have to, since it's part of our journey and it is going to be important to our journey, you just have to take a step towards that. And then I'm very sure even the most shy person can overcome it if that step is taken. So thanks for the contribution, and we really appreciate. Our guest has been wonderful, and I'm very sure we've learned a lot of things from his experience. I'm not so sure whether he remembers. Our paths crossed in OAU. I studied philosophy. He studied law, and he took some courses in philosophy, logic, where we came across, and I didn't want to go to him through that. The most important thing is what people can learn from this, and I'm very sure. And two, also, I saw his picture with, I saw his picture with one of the presidential candidates. Am I right?
Well, yes to both. So when I saw your face, I suspected, although I also didn't try to confirm if you were the one that I had known from OAU. But the resemblance was, of course, too uncanny to be mistaken. So yes, I really suspected, and thank you very much for confirming. It's of course super to maintain these contacts. And yes, I had stumbled on Peter Obi. I was just having lunch in Abuja, and I walked in to have lunch as well. So very nice time to get a few words and a few pictures.
Oh, we are planning another program, and that has to do because people see us. I've been saying people see us as we are now part of those in diaspora, and then I think to a very large extent, to be a student here, we are not just persons in diaspora. We are part of the learned set of people. So we have a contribution to make towards our country, as the association is meant for. We have a contribution to make towards our country. The country is in preparation for election, and then ours is not to propagate or campaign for anybody, but ours is to educate the electorate on choosing rights, and then making the best choice for themselves, and not being induced by any form of the fund or anything. So we are looking for a platform to do that. And I think I actually thought probably you have a relationship with him when you saw that, and it would be a good person to educate a little bit on that, since it's not your line. I'm not so sure politics is your line. So anyway, we can still talk more on that personally. Or you want to say
So
something?
in terms of and my understanding is that Peter Obi he'll be delighted to join in into a conversation like that. I know he's, my goodness, I've just seen his social media, and he's been all over the world in the last few weeks, from speaking at the NBA conference, where sadly I missed him. Was it last week, Monday? He's been at least in Europe, he's been in Canada, it was in Germany, then to one other country in Europe, he's been to Canada, he's currently in the US. I think he's speaking in Columbia University. Maybe he spoke there yesterday, or he's speaking there this weekend or on Monday, but he's currently somewhere around New York, as I understand it right now. He's in Washington, D.C., some days ago, all that. I think the point I'm making is he's doing a lot of travels, and he's looking for all these opportunities to engage with young people, Nigerians in diaspora, and all. One thing to be mindful of course, is that you are not doing him much right now, because that's that you're not going to vote. But what you will be doing for him is a platform, right? And making it a swell of people that can propagate the message that he's trying to pitch to the Nigerian people. I think in that context, the best way of going about this is not university based. It more likely will be aggregating yourselves and networking across different universities and institutions, and then making a pitch to him. When I spoke with him, I told him that I missed him again a few times, because he comes to Oxford quite regularly. He talks at the business school a number of times. So we joked about that, and that was perhaps what we were discussing when that picture was taken off. Both of us laughing. Give us an example, several universities, and I've already made this pitch to some of my guys in Oxford, and I'll speak to Kenneth. I hope you is the name that is maybe familiar to you. Kenneth Okor. He's currently a PhD student in Cambridge. And
in Cambridge, yeah, he's actually I think he's the president right now.
Correct.
We have a group where all the presidents in the whole of UK come together, and unfortunately, I was unable to. I just forgot to announce this over there. One of the presidents just called me during the meeting, and I had to apologize to him that I was unable to introduce this program to them. But such program we are planning towards can be targeted such a place.
So that's fantastic. I didn't know that platform existed, because in fact, in my first year of my PhD, I contested for presidency of the Oxford Africa Society, and I'd made this pitch to them that we have to be doing more with across, reaching out outside of just your home university or your hometown, then to others, and on things, for instance, that are of national importance, where you want students to have a voice. You shouldn't be looking to students in Ife and Uniben, right? You are in bloody University of Oxford. Why don't you have a voice? Why are you sitting down there with your hands folded behind your back, right? Unfortunately, I didn't win my presidency, so that's not don't just about it. We come together as that sort of and something. So team, but the chairman of APC. You do it very easily, I can assure you.
Sorry, my network was fluctuating, so I missed some of the things you said. Anyway, do not take too much of the time. I think you gave a good advice on going forward on that, and we can always still reach out to you on the best way to go about it, and then whatever advice you have for us on that, and then whichever way you can come in to help. You have been in diaspora, and I'm sure you are still connected to diaspora. So the diaspora, so you have one or two things to help us on that. And I do hope you still remember Risky. Sorry for that digression. You know,
of course I do.
This sorry for being a little bit personal. I didn't want to start with personal. Now I'm going back to this. So thanks for apologies to others. We are just trying to reconnect. And so thanks for your time. We really appreciate. We will contact you on the little things we are putting into stats right now. And then I believe you will be willing to receive us on that.
No.
My network here.
Very happy to support him when I can.
Thanks for that promise. So we have come to the, or do we have anyone else who has any question before we go? Is there anyone else with any question? Oh, someone is already appreciating the time. Okay, so thanks for your time, and thanks for that wonderful humility to attend to our call. And then we really appreciate you. And we appreciate everyone who has come on the call. And I believe we've picked one or two things from this, and we look forward to more of this in the future. So I appreciate everyone. Thanks for your time, and bye for now.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. Bye.